Can everyone hear me? Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Can everyone see my presentation also?
Yes, sir.
Alright then. So good afternoon everyone. Let's just begin straight away. So yesterday we were seeing about this De Morgan's theorem, but the problem was De Morgan's theorem is somewhat hard to explain, and I used the method suggested by the book, and it is somewhat vague. So we've tried to explain all the steps in detail. So I've typed down everything. Let's just start from the statement. De Morgan's theorem was actually it's a theorem that was discovered by this person called as Augustus De Morgan. The basic problem in those days was the multiple right the problem there was the use of different gates to actually use of different gates again and again caused lots and lots of complexity in circuits. So what this Augustus De Morgan did is he figured out a way to have the same circuit give he actually figured out that two different circuits actually give the same output. So that is what he discovered, and then he later proved also. So this is the theorem and the proof. So what Augustus De Morgan suggested is if you have a circuit that's going to give us the output a plus b the whole inverse, the same output can be derived if you invert a and then multiply it with b inverse also. So an addition is going to give the same output as a multiplication. So this is what Augustus De Morgan put forth in his first theorem. What this allows us to do is it allows us to reuse circuits again and again. So anytime you want an output for a plus b, instead of building a circuit like this again, we can simply reuse an already existing circuit. If this circuit already existed, we can simply take the same output, because both of them are going to give us identical outputs. That is what he suggested. Now let's see how to prove this very important theorem. Now Augustus, his first theorem is a plus b the whole inverse. So a plus b the whole inverse means you have to add a and b first, then you have to invert it. If you do that, it is going to be equal to a inverse dot b inverse. You invert a and then multiply it by b inverse. So that is the statement. Now let's see how to prove it. To prove it, what we are going to do first is we are actually saying this first bit a plus b the whole inverse is equal to a inverse multiplied by b inverse. To prove it, what we are going to do is we are going to take a separate function called p, and p is going to be a small expression a plus b. Very simply, a plus b. This is going to be our function p. We are going to use this function p to prove this statement. So if we take p as a plus b, we know several ways of inverting this expression. So the very simple way with which you can invert this function is by running this expression through a NOT gate. So if you add a and b, let me just draw it out. So in any method, if I ask you to invert an expression, what you will do is you will simply run the output through a NOT gate. So that is exactly what people used to do. That is exactly the simplest way in which you can get an inverse. So if you have an expression that says a plus b and you want the inverse, what you can do is you can simply run this entire expression through a NOT gate. So that will give you a plus b inverse. So if p is equal to a plus b, p inverse is equal to a plus b the whole inverse. So this is how you get p inverse. And there is one more way of getting p inverse, and that way is by the principle of duality. Okay, that one more way is by the principle of duality. So remember, the principle of duality simply states if you have any expression like a plus b or a minus b or whatever, sorry, a minus b does not exist in binary. If you have a valid expression in binary like a plus b and you want to find the inverse, all you need to do is write down the same expression with the inverse alphabets and the inverted symbol. So p inverse is going to be, instead of a we are going to write a inverse, and instead of this plus sign we are going to write the opposite of a plus sign, which is multiplication sign, and instead of B we are going to write B inverse. So according to the principle of duality, we can say P inverse is equal to A inverse dot B inverse. So now for the single equation P, we have two ways of writing P inverse: A inverse dot B inverse or A plus B the whole inverse. So this is our problem statement. So just look at this and look at this. So what they are actually saying is we have a single equation P and then there are two P inverses. What this simply means is if P is equal to P inverse, then this is also another variation of P inverse. So these both must be equal to each other. So that is what we are going to prove. There are many ways to prove. There are two ways to proving this. So let's just try the simplest way. Can everyone follow along? I think I've simplified it compared to yesterday. Is everyone able to follow along? Is it simpler than yesterday?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's just continue. We have a message. Okay, my assurance says yes. So let's continue. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to make sure A inverse dot B inverse is equal to A plus B the whole inverse. So that is what we are trying to do. Let's just build the circuit and then let's check. I have drawn a truth table here for input A and input B. First let's check A inverse multiplied by B inverse. I have drawn input A, input B. I have written A inverse, written B inverse, and then I have multiplied A inverse by B inverse. Let's just check if the circuit works. First, a truth table is nothing but all the combinations the circuit can have. Inputs A and B can have 4 states, 4 configurations. Both can be off. Any one of them can be on, or both can be on. So let's see what the circuit is going to give, what sort of output the circuit is going to give in each one of the configurations. Alright, so in the first case, I think someone joined late. Okay, Venkatesha joined late. So Venkatesha, we were just talking about the theorem. So De Morgan's first theorem simply states A plus B, the whole inverse, is equal to A inverse dot B inverse. Let's just recap for Venkatesha. This theorem came into being because gates are very, very hard to manufacture, and if you wanted to reuse a gate, it was not possible. So De Morgan came along and said that we can reuse gates. Anytime we want the output of A plus B the whole inverse, we can simply use A inverse dot B inverse's output. So both are going to be the same. So that was the statement. To prove this, what we are going to do is we are going to take an equation called P equal to A plus B, a very, very simple equation, and if we try to invert it by using a NOT gate, so what we'll do is if we have a equation P equal to A plus B, by running it through a NOT gate, we'll get the inverse, that is P equal to A plus B the whole inverse. So this is one way of getting P inverse, and the other way of getting P inverse is by actually using the principle of duality. We've seen the principle already. So any sort of equation, if you want to invert it, all you need to do is to write the opposite symbols and opposite variables. So if you have the equation P equal to A plus B, by inverting it, all you need to do is to add a inverse sign to everything. So A becomes A inverse, B becomes B inverse, and this plus sign becomes a multiplication sign. So we have a single equation P, but we have two equations for P inverse, and this both equations of P inverse are our problem statement which we are trying to prove. So we partially arrived at the answer. We just need to verify and prove this. We are actually doing the verification where we have drawn a truth table for A inverse dot B inverse. We are just checking now. Alright, I think we've caught up. So if both inputs A and B are 0, then what's going to happen is A inverse is going to be opposite of 0, 1, B inverse is going to be opposite of 0, 1, and if we multiply A inverse and B inverse separately, 1 into 1 is going to be 1. According to the properties of 1s and 0s, we can get the output as 1. We are checking it here with the simulator also. So here you can see this is input A, it is off, input B is also off, but we are getting a output here. Let's look at all the other configurations. Here what's going to happen is we are going to get A inverse as 1 in the second case and B inverse as 0, and the third case 0 as A inverse and B inverse as 1. So both are going to give us outputs as 0, as 1 multiplied by 0 is 0 here. So since we are getting 0, we should get no output. It is verified now. And finally, in the last case, we have inputs A and B as 1 and 1, but A inverse of 1 is 0, inverse of B is also 0, and 0 multiplied by 0 is also going to give us a 0. So we have the same, we got the same result. So the truth table is correct. We have verified it with the circuit diagram. Now let's check it for the second part. So we verified A inverse dot B inverse. So A inverse dot B inverse gives us the output 1 0 0 0. Now we have to check if A plus B the whole inverse also gives us 1 0 0. So let's just check. Here's the truth table. We have 4 configurations: 0 0 0 1 1 0. And let me make it smaller. And then we have 1 1. What we are trying to check is we are going to add this A plus B, and then we are going to check if we are getting the same results as the previous expression. So let's add A and B. 0 plus 0 is 0, 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 0 is 1, 1 plus 1 is again 1. Now we are going to invert A plus B. We are going to get A plus B the whole inverse. So we are going to add A and B first and then invert it. So we have the answer right here. 0 inverted is going to give us 1, 1 inverted is 0, 1 inverted again is 0, 1 inverted again is 0. So let's look at the circuit simulator. So here we see the circuit simulator. This is switch A, switch B. So if both switches are off, we are getting an output as shown by the truth table. If any one is on or both are off, we are getting no output. So we actually verified the result. So here we can see both the circuits, A inverse multiplied by B inverse and A plus B the whole inverse is giving us the same output. So here you can see we have an output, no output, no output and no output. So 1 and 3 zeros. And here also we have 1 followed by 3 zeros. Only in this case we are seeing the output. So we have proved it using gates. Now let's prove it algebraically. So remember, we had the problem statement where we said P is equal to A plus B. So if we have any sort of expression, okay, like even if we have a single variable, so if we add the variable with the variable's inverse, we should get a 0. We should get a 1. Okay, my mistake, it's not 0, it's 1. So this is what we call as the complementary law. So the same should apply for expressions also. So if we have a full expression called P inverse, if you add it with P, then we should again get 1. So what we are trying to check is if this P inverse is actually valid. We know this A plus B the whole inverse is valid because we are running the output of P through a NOT gate. We know this is valid. We know this is valid because we have proved it using a simple NOT component. We have used it. Proved it by using a circuit diagram. But we have to prove that this is also a valid P inverse. So to do that, what we are going to do is we are going to add this P and this P inverse. So we assumed P as A plus B, and then we are assuming P inverse as A inverse multiplied by P inverse. So what we are going to do is we are going to apply this complementary law on this set of expressions. So let's add P and P inverse. I think everyone can understand. You have some doubt here? I think I'm explaining all the steps properly here. Do you have any doubt so far? Okay, let's continue. Oh, this is actually a mistake here. We need to actually prove P inverse is equal to A inverse dot B inverse is valid. We need to prove A inverse multiplied by B inverse is a valid inverse of A plus B. So that's what we are doing. We are going to substitute the values of P in this equation. Remember, we are now trying to prove we are trying to use the complementary law. According to complementary law, A plus A inverse is going to give us 1. let's just try to recap. So if we take the situation where a is 0, that's going to give us 0 plus 0 inverse 1. 1 plus 1 is 1. So if we take a equal to 1, we have 1 plus 1 inverse is 0. So 1 plus 0 is going to 1. So this is the complementary law. We are going to apply the same to this p plus p inverse. So here p and p inverse are different statements. So p is a plus b, but p inverse is a inverse dot b inverse. Let's just check if this works. So what we are going to do is we have to simplify it. So here we have a plus b, an addition, and a inverse dot b inverse, a multiplication. So it's not actually easy to multiply. I'm sorry, I got disconnected. Okay, I think we stopped here. So I explained the complementary law. Did everyone did I get disconnected before that, or did I get disconnected after that?
After that.
Okay, so let me just start again after complementary law. So we are simply going to apply this complementary law to our set of equations p and p inverse. So p is a plus b, and p inverse is a inverse multiplied by b inverse. So let's just apply it. I was telling you about simplification. We can't actually directly simplify. Let's do it in parts. Let's assume the equation is simply a plus b plus a inverse. If we take only one half, so we can immediately add this. So we will get the answer. If we only have a plus b plus a inverse, we will get the answer a plus b plus a inverse. Alright, and let's take another half. Let's say we have only b plus b inverse. Can everyone see what I am presenting? I think you are. Okay, let's say we have only a plus b plus b inverse, then we will get the answer a plus b plus b inverse. So this is an easy way to multiply. If we have this, then this is the answer we are going to get. So now what we will do is, we have done the addition separately. Now all we need to do is do this multiplication. So let's write these answers separately here. So what I have written is, simply write here. Okay, let me redraw the line. So I have just written the same answer here, and I have written the same answer here, and then I have written the multiplication sign over here. Okay, I think this is somewhat easier than yesterday's explanation. Can everyone understand what we are actually doing here? We have two equations, p plus p inverse, which we have to say is equal to, which we have to prove is equal to 1. So I've written plus b and p inverse, the equation that we got from the principle of duality here. We have to now simplify this if you are going to solve it. So to simplify it, we need to add a plus b with a inverse dot b inverse. We cannot do this directly. So what I have done is, I split this into two separate equations. So I am splitting it right here. So a plus b plus a inverse is one, and a plus b plus b inverse is another. And then what we are doing is, we are going to do the multiplication later. So here you can see I have written the multiplication here. So let's multiply the answers of this both first equation and second equation. So if we solve the first equation, we are going to get a plus b plus a inverse, that is going to be this answer. Let me write down here, a plus b plus a inverse. I have written that down here. the next answer we're going to get is a plus b plus b inverse. I've written that here. Now we just need to add the AND sign, so I'm putting that AND sign here. I think this is somewhat clear. Can everyone understand this?
Yes, sir.
Is that clear to everyone? Alright then, if it's clear, let me continue. So we've got this answer here. Now let's simplify this further. Now we know from idempotence law that if we add a variable with its inverse, we should get a 1. So here we are directly having variables. So we have an a and an a inverse. So here let's substitute this a and a inverse with a 1. Again here this side we have b and a b inverse. So same idempotence law can be applied. So we are writing a 1 here, 1 here and a 1 here. Now let's simplify it further. So we know from properties of 1 and 0, any variable plus 1 is going to give us a 1. So we have a variable b plus 1, so this is going to result in a 1. Next on this side we have again a variable plus 1, so the result is going to be a 1 again. Here we have solved this. Next we have in the last step we have 1 multiplied by 1. So 1 into 1 is obviously 1. We know that again from the properties of 1 and 0. So here we got a 1. So our statement that we set out to prove was p plus p inverse is going to be equal to 1. So this was our LHS and then we got it. Okay, LHS is now equal to RHS. So first set of equations is solved. So remember in the I think idempotence law we had two statements, a plus a inverse is going to be equal to 1 and a multiplied by a inverse is going to be what? Can anyone answer? Anyone? What is a multiplied by a inverse?
0.
Okay, very good, 0. So we proved the first part of the idempotence law. What we need to do is we need to prove the second part. So let's just do that very quickly here. So what we are going to prove the next statement, p multiplied by p inverse is also 0. So remember our equation p is a plus b and p inverse is a inverse dot b inverse. We got this by using principle of duality. We are trying to prove this expression a inverse dot b inverse is a valid expression. It's a valid p inverse. So let's continue. I'm going to substitute p and p inverse in this equation here. So p is a plus b and p inverse is a inverse dot b inverse, and we are putting this dot here. We have substituted it successfully. Now once again we have to multiply this. So let's do it in parts. So what I'm going to do is a plus b multiplied by only a inverse. I'm going to write that here, and a plus b multiplied by only b inverse. Let's do it in two parts. So now we have the expression oh, did I make a mistake here? Oh, it's actually the opposite. Okay, I have a mistake here. Let's do it in two parts where we are going to multiply a inverse dot b inverse with a and a inverse dot b inverse with b. So let's do that. If we do that, we are going to get two answers. The answer a inverse dot b inverse dot a. As you can see, this is the first part of the answer. Next we are going to get a inverse b inverse and a b here. So this is the second part of the answer, a inverse dot b inverse dot b. Okay, so this is not the correct explanation. So we are just splitting it again, and here we have a multiplication sign which changes to a plus sign because we are actually inverting the operation. Here we are multiplying first and then we are adding. In the previous step we added first and then we multiplied. So here we added and then we multiplied. Here we are multiplying first and then we are adding. So the symbols are interchanged. So we've simplified this equation here. Okay, So we've simplified this equation here. Now let's just continue simplifying. Again, now we are going to use idempotence law, which states A multiplied with its inverse is going to be 0. So here we have identical variables A and A inverse. So anytime we multiply them both together, we are going to get a 0. So that's what I've written here. And next here we have B and B inverse on this side. B and B inverse on this side. If we multiply them both, we are going to get a 0. Let's simplify this further. So the B inverse is pending, I have written that here, and A inverse is also pending, I have written that here. Now 0 multiplied by anything is 0, so written the answer as 0, plus if you multiply anything by 0, 1, so we got the answer 0. Once again, LHS is equal to RHS. We have proved the second statement, P dot P inverse is also equal to 0. So what we are proving from this is A inverse dot B inverse is a valid expression. It's a valid inverse expression of P. So P has two inverses, A dot B inverse, and P inverse is also equal to A plus B the whole inverse. If we have an equation P that is A plus B, it has two valid negative functions that are A inverse dot B inverse or A plus B the whole inverse. So this is the statement we set out to prove, and we have proved this. This is what we call by De Morgan's first theorem. Alright, I think this was much clearer than yesterday. Do all of you understand this theorem? Okay, I think so. Fine, let's continue. Let's just go forth. So we have one more theorem. De Morgan stated one more theorem also, which is very similar. So what he's saying is A dot B inverse is equal to A plus B, A inverse plus B inverse. Let's just look at the let me just erase all this. Let me write down the first theorem. The first theorem is A inverse dot B inverse is equal to A plus B the whole inverse. Let's just check. Okay, we see A plus B inverse, the whole inverse is equal to A inverse dot B inverse. I have written the same thing here. So this is our first theorem. Here we have the first theorem. What this allowed is we could basically reuse circuits. Anytime we wanted to find the output, anytime we wanted to use the output of A inverse dot B inverse, we could simply reuse the output of A plus B the whole inverse. So this simplified the number of instructions that were the number of operations that were used to build any integrated circuit. Alright, now let's see one more similar theorem, and that statement goes A dot B the whole inverse. Remember, here we have A plus B the whole inverse, and then here we have the opposite. A dot B the whole inverse is equal to A inverse plus B inverse. So this is the exact opposite. So A plus B whole, instead of A plus B whole inverse, we have A dot B whole inverse, and instead of A inverse dot B inverse, we have A inverse plus B inverse. Let's just prove it. Once again, we are going to take the inversion, we are going to take the equation A dot B as P. So there are two ways to find the inverse of this A dot B. Let's just write down all of them. So the very easy way in which we can get the inverse of A dot B is by running A dot B through a NOT gate. So let's just do that. Input A, input B. Let's get A dot B. I'm going to use an AND gate here. Once I do this, I'm going to get the output A dot B. Now to get the inverse of A dot B, let me run it through a NOT gate. This is not very neat, but adjust. So once I run this output through a NOT gate, I'm going to get A dot B the whole inverse. So this is one valid inverse. So one valid inverse is A dot B the whole inverse. So whatever output I get, this NOT gate will immediately invert it. Now by using the principle of duality, we can once again derive another P inverse. So one another P inverse we can get is by using the principle of duality, which states we can simply invert all of the symbols. So A becomes A inverse, and this dot becomes a plus, and this B becomes a B inverse. So we have one more expression for P inverse, that is A inverse plus B inverse. So we derive both equations here. Now what we have to do is we need to prove both this P inverses are valid expressions, valid inverse expressions of P. Let's once again use the complementary law, which states any variable multiplied with added with its inverse is going to give us 1. So let's just substitute P and P inverse. Remember, P is equal to A dot B and P inverse is equal to A inverse plus B inverse. So we got this by using principle of duality. Okay, apologies for the handwriting. Okay, so let me just erase this. This is not required. So let's just continue. So let's just simplify this expression now. We have P plus P inverse is equal to 1, and we substituted the values for P. Now let's simplify this expression. So we have A dot B on one side and then A inverse plus B inverse on the other side. Once again, this is harder to simplify, so let's just split it into two halves. Let's split it right here. So we'll do A inverse plus B inverse plus A inverse for A first, and then let's do A inverse plus B inverse plus B next. So let's split it into two. So we're going to get two answers. So the sum of A inverse plus B inverse plus A is going to be A plus A inverse plus B. I have written that here. Let me just copy it all the way here. Next, the second part is going to be A inverse plus B inverse plus B. So we're going to get the same answer. I'm going to write that here. So now all we need to do is add the AND sign. So we are adding first, then we are doing this addition first, next we are multiplying. So that is what I have written here. We got the simplification. Now let's simplify it even further. Let's simplify it even further. This is the equation we got. Here we can see we have an A inverse and an A. From the idempotence law, we can simply say A plus A inverse is going to be a 1. So I've written that here. In the next part, we have B plus B inverse. Again, using the idempotence law, we can say this is 1. Next, we have a B inverse which is unaffected. We copy that down here. Here we have an A inverse. We copy that down again. Next, we have 1 plus B inverse multiplied by 1 plus A inverse. So all of us know from the properties of ones and zeros, we can say any Boolean variable plus 1 is going to give us a 1 in return. So we can simply solve this and write 1, and then 1 multiplied by 1 is going to give us a 1. So here we have proven very simply that P plus P inverse is equal to 1. So we have proved half the expression that we sought out to prove. All we need to do is prove the next part, that is P dot P inverse is also equal to 0. Let's just continue. We are going to substitute the values of P and P inverse. So remember, value of P is A dot B and value of P inverse is A inverse plus B inverse. We got this from alright. Let's just substitute. So A dot B multiplied by A inverse plus B inverse. Once again, we need to simplify this. To simplify this, let's divide this into parts. So I think we divide this right here. So A dot B multiplied by A inverse. First, let's do this half. Then we'll do A dot B multiplied by B inverse. So let's do that second. So we have two expressions, and what we need to do is, since we are doing multiplication first, let's add them next. So I'm just going to copy the answers of these simple steps here, and then let's add them. So this is the product we got. A dot B multiplied by A inverse is A dot A inverse dot B. Next, A dot B multiplied by B inverse is A dot B dot B inverse. Now let's simplify. Let me get rid of this arrows. Let's simplify. So from the properties of 1 and 0, we know A multiplied by I think from the idempotence law, A multiplied by A inverse is going to give us a 0. I don't think this properties of 1 and 0. Alright, A multiplied by A inverse is going to be 0, and B multiplied by B inverse is going to be 0. Alright, so we've simplified. Let's copy the B and A. This remains unaffected. Now in the next step we can see 0 dot B. From properties of 1 and 0 we know 0 multiplied by any variable is going to be 0 again. So we've written the answer down here. Next we have 0 multiplied by another variable A. We know once again this is also 0. Now we have proved P multiplied by P inverse is also 0. So what we are stating here is this A inverse plus B inverse is a valid P inverse, is a valid expression. If you have P equal to A plus B, then if you have P equal to A dot B, let me write it again. If you have P equal to A dot B, then P inverse is A dot B the whole inverse, or A plus B, A inverse plus B inverse. So this is what we are stating. So this any sort of equation where we are multiplying two variables, you can write two inverses. They are A dot B the whole inverse or A inverse plus B inverse. So this is our statement. This is De Morgan's second theorem. Let's just take a look at the truth tables here. So written down the statement. Statements are A dot B the whole inverse is equal to A inverse plus B inverse. So here we have A inverse plus B inverse, and then here we have A inverse multiplied by B inverse. A multiplied by B the whole inverse. Let's just look at the circuit diagrams. I have two inputs A and B here. A dot B. Here I have a NOT gate which is going to give me A dot B the whole inverse. Can everyone agree with me? Is everyone agreeing with me? Is this correct? Okay, no response, that's fine. Just take a look at this. This is correct. So we have A and B. We are multiplying both using the AND gate, and then we are inverting them using a NOT gate. So the output is going to be A dot B the whole inverse. So there are four possible configurations for this truth table: 0 0, 0 1, or 1 0, or 1 1. So both can be off, or any one can be on, or both can be on. So here from the truth table you can see we are getting the output in three cases. We are getting the output in the first three cases. If any one of the gates is on, or if both the gates are off, we are going to get an output. Let's look at the next variation. In the next variation we are adding A inverse plus B inverse. Here also take a look. We are building a circuit. This is input A, input B. We have a NOT gate that's going to supply us with A inverse, a NOT gate here that is going to give us a B inverse, and adding A inverse and B inverse is going to give us A inverse plus B inverse. So here also you can see we are getting an output whenever both A and B are off, or if any one is on. So here you can see this is 0, but this is a 1. But here you can see this is a 1 and this is a 0. Okay, I have a message. Okay, Tanish Kumar, you can leave the class. It is time. We are also going to end this. We are just looking at the proof.
Okay, sir. Sorry, sir. My charge is not there. That's why.
Okay, it's not a problem. We've completed. Okay, this is the end of the class. Okay, everyone, I can just listen for 2 more minutes. So here we've successfully proved De Morgan's second theorem also. So the point of all of this theorems is the use of De Morgan's equivalent gates. What De Morgan is now actually enabled us to do is we can reuse circuits. Anytime we want to use A dot B the whole inverse, we don't actually have to use this circuit. We can reuse this circuit again and again. Let's say we have an expression that says A inverse plus B inverse plus A dot B the whole inverse. What we need to do is we don't have to build two different circuits. We can just reuse this same circuit 2 times. Okay, so that is what De Morgan's theorem allows us to do. It allows us to use equivalent gates. Instead of having an exact gate, we can use equivalent gates to further simplify our circuits. This is the entire lesson here. This is the entire chapter about Boolean algebra. We've covered everything. Let's just recap and then we'll stop the class. So let's just take a look at everything we've learned. This is what we call as the AND gate, and if we give it two inputs, if we give this AND gate two ones, it's going to return as a 1. This is what we call as a multiplier. And then this OR is what. So if we give any input that is 1 and another input as 0, it's going to add both and then it's going to give us a 1. So this NOR gate is simply a NOT connected to an OR gate, and NAND gate is nothing but a NOT gate connected to an AND gate. Okay, combination of NOT and an AND is going to give us a NAND gate. Combination of NOR and an OR and a NOT gate is going to give us a NOR gate. And to finalize, this is what an IC looks like. You may have seen this ICs in all sort of electronics. So you're going to have a small notch here. This indicates the front. So we start the numbers from the left side. We start all the way. Each side is going to have 7 pins. This is the standard. And inside this we have small transistors, small connection of transistors. Different ICs will have different gates inside them. Some may have all ANDs, some may have 2 ANDs and 2 ORs, or NAND and NOR. It may have different combinations. This is the component called as an IC. This is what all electronic components use for making decisions. Inside a fridge you may have an IC, and what may happen is you may have something like something called a thermostat or something, and you may have a secondary thermostat in the cooler or something. One, then the fridge might do some other action. Okay, the fridge might turn on the cooler to increase turn on the compressor to increase cooling, or it can do something like that. So this is how modern appliances work. They make decisions using ICs, and inside ICs we have logic gates. Inside logic gates we have transistors. Okay, I think this is enough now. So let's stop here. So I've recorded these lectures, and I've posted one half on YouTube, and this is the other half. So together I think it's 2 hours of lectures. If you have any doubts, you can go look at the lectures. Alright, and I'll be posting this entire notes also, either in Google Classroom or in the WhatsApp group, or I'll do both. So you can refer these to basically know about Boolean algebra. Is that okay with everyone? Okay. So let's just see this last one and then we'll close the class. I'm going to upload everything to YouTube and our Google Classroom also. What we've learned in summary is, anytime you have a large Boolean expression, we can basically simplify it by using various postulates and theorems. So here, so once you get the notes, you can take a look at everything. Okay, the time is 3:55 now. So if you have any doubts, you can ask them. Do you have any doubts in this chapter? Is everyone able to understand today's lecture? Okay, Darshan is saying yes. Alright then. So let's disconnect. Let me post the YouTube. Let me post the video and the notes, and then let me give you the links on the WhatsApp group. Alright, everyone, you can start disconnecting. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
If you want to ask any doubt.